Most investors still think hard part is finding good stocks, but it's clearly not anymore. Finding ideas is easy now. Information is everywhere. Research reports are everywhere. Twitter threads are everywhere. AI can summarize anything in seconds now. But still, most investors feel overwhelmed because the hard part starts once you actually build your portfolio. Because once you start tracking earnings events, geopolitics, macro events, 15 20 stocks simultaneously, various things like funds, risk exposure, your investment process slowly becomes an attention management problem. And this becomes particularly worse if you are an analyst or a fund manager or an wealth advisor managing hundreds of different portfolios. And today I'm going to discuss something that has completely changed how I think about AI workflows in finance. I'm going to give Claude CoWork one specific workflow which is going to highlight this same problem. And most important misconceptions investor and analyst community has is that AI is making investment easy, investment research easy because all of the information access it has. But I think quite the contrary is true. I think information is becoming worthless and context is becoming priceless because imagine this, all have access to the same data, then the edge and the advantage is going to shift somewhere else, which could be your judgment, which could be your ability to pay attention, which could be what matters in actual process of investing. And that is why I'm going to give Claude CoWork one specific wealth management plugin, and I'm going to give Claude Code access to 30 client portfolios, and we are going to see how it goes. And the most important part here is not what kind of summaries I will generate and what kind of data analysis I will do. Most important part here is using AI as an operating system for investment decision making, which will not generate what kind of stocks I should invest in, which will not generate stock prediction, which will not generate AI summary fluff, right? It should ask right questions instead, which could be what matters right now, which one should I prioritize, which one should I safely ignore, and what requires my immediate attention. And I'm going to show you exactly how. But before moving on, I would like to make an announcement that I have recently launched an Alpha with AI club specifically catering to investment analysts, investors, and finance professionals who are learning AI alone, right? Because it's always better to learn AI together compared to learning AI alone. And this is precisely why this Alpha with AI club exists, right? It is a community of hundreds of different analysts and investors all over globally. You can share your learnings, you can share your own thoughts here, and you can basically access our various playbooks on AI. And if you want to become a premium member, then you can also access our premium playbooks as well. And most important part here is you can directly tag me here and ask me specific doubts that you might be having, or you can share your own ideas as well. And now I will move on to specific workflow that I will be discussing, which is wealth management plugin by Claude CoWork. So first of all, any Claude CoWork plugin that has been launched by Anthropic, you just need to search Claude plugins in Google and then just need to open plugins for Claude Code, right? And here you just need to search wealth management plugin. And once you see wealth management plugin, you can see what kind of things it can do. It can prepare a client review, right? It can make a financial plan for you. It can make an investment proposal for you. It can also do a tax loss harvesting. So this could be also a very great way to manage tax obligations at the end of your financial year. So what you need to do, just click on this Anthropic. You just need to click on this. You can see this is Anthropic verified. You just need to click on installing Claude CoWork and then just open Claude. So what it will do is it will open Claude desktop, where you can see this is the wealth management plugin. So what kind of skill this includes? You can see client report, client review, financial plan, investment proposal, portfolio rebalancing, tax loss harvesting, proposal, rebalancing, right? And I have already installed this skill, but you need to install this first. And once you install this, you can also do a couple of different things that I'm going to walk you through immediately. So this is the wealth management plugin. One thing you can do here is, let's say, first thing you should do is you might have your in-house templates, right? In-house research frameworks, in-house report templates, or any kind of customized things that you might be doing for your firm or you might be doing as an investor, right? So you can customize these skills. You just need to customize, and it will automatically open this chat, and you can add your own templates or add your own framework, your thoughts to customize these plugins once you immediately install this. Remember, this is really important because instead of adapting yourself to this plugin, you can actually make this plugin adapt to you, right? And this is it. So how you should start, right? So first thing, before actually executing anything, you need to give Claude CoWork an access to your local folder. So this local folder should contain your firm templates, your firm data. And remember, this is extremely safe because all of the data is still living on your local system only. It is not going to process through Claude's or Anthropic's training data, right? So this is one extremely important thing that you need to understand. So let's say I decide to give access to my local folder, which could be the recent client files of clients of mine, right? So these are like 30 client files. I will just open this folder and give Cloud Code access to this folder. So what this file actually contains, that I will also show you, right? So this was, I believe, the folder. So I will just show you a couple of files, right? So this is that file. So this contains various holdings the clients have. Again, along with this, what kind of AUM they have, what kind of investment goal have, what kind of investment goal they might have, what kind of risk profile they might have, and advisor notes. So this is the standard structure of these files, right? So I will again move on to Claude. So what I want to do is, it doesn't matter if you are an individual investor or let's say an wealth advisor. This workflow is going to apply to everyone, right? So I will start with something like this, right? I'm an wealth manager. I'm managing 30 client portfolio files. One thing you need to understand, giving context to these models is extremely important. So give all the context that you can, right? So there are specific events that are happening all across the month, and I need to decide which clients should I prioritize, right? Depending on the positions that they might have or the funds that they might have. So this could be, an opportunity calls where there might be some opportunity for them. This could be a risk call. So some clients might have some risky exposure to some risky assets, right? So this could be that kind of call, or this could be a regular portfolio checkup call as well. But I need to prioritize, top five clients that I should call, top five clients that I should defer to later, right? Then a couple of things that you can give me a couple of talking points to these clients as well, depending on what kind of risk exposure and what kind of portfolio exposure they might have, right? Use the wealth management plugin, of course. That's it, right? Look how simple this is. Extremely, plain language. So I will just change my model to Opus 4.7. So I'm a little bit rusty with Claude CoWork because last 2 months or so I'm only using Claude Code. Important part is Claude Code is extremely efficient software, or a CLI you can say, compared to all of these other tools. But that initial discomfort that Claude Code gives you. Because of that, 90% of the people are not even going to try Claude Code, right? So for that 90% of the people, Claude CoWork could be a really good alternative as well. And this is extremely user friendly. You can do certain things in here that you cannot do, let's say, on Claude Code very easily, unless and until you become proficient in using Claude Code, right? So couple of things I want to show you while this is executing as well. So I will just hit execute, right? And so it will start accessing. First thing it will do is it will start accessing that folder. It will start analyzing all those 30 files, and then it will start processing the instructions that I specifically given in above prompt on those files. And then it will use the plugin that it has access to, which is wealth management plugin, and it will try to give me a right output according to it. And remember, this is a trust process. You should go iteration by iteration. What I mean by that is, first iteration might not be perfect, second iteration also might not be perfect. So remember, your feedback is what is going to drive Claude CoWork to give you the actual output that it desires. So first thing it is going to do is, how should I source events happening across month? So I will identify them. I will give you a list and portfolio signals only. So what I will do is do a thorough web search, specifically focus on Indian markets to understand the events that are happening, because certain geopolitical events like oil prices, the war situations are also affecting our economy, along with the political things that are happening as well. And don't forget the AI element as well, because AI is also kind of affecting a lot of industries right now. Right? I will just enter this. Then what matters most when ranking who to call first? So I will just say AUM and revenue, because this is important. But risk exposure is also important. So I'm kind of conflicted, and I will just choose risk exposure for now. And you can select multiple. So I will select both, right? Then what deliverable do you want? So of course I need both, right? So now it will start executing. So while it is doing this, I want to show you a couple of things, right? So you can of course go into this customize thing. In customize thing, you can see there are multiple different plugins that I have installed, include private equity, investment banking, equity research, marketing, sales, finance, right? So what you need to do is go into this wealth management plugin and really understand what these plugins are about, right? So once you click on one plugin, you will understand what this plugin is, right? So lead the investment proposal skill to create personalized investment proposal for prospective client, right? So let's say I go into this client report. So this is again one of the skills. So what this skill is about, right? So you can literally modify the skills here, right? So something that you don't like, let's say you want to add PIMA regulations here or something else, you can add it if it is missing, right? So this is all about customizing it to your own needs, right? Because if you are going to just use a completely stock skill or stock plugin, you are not going to get the most out of it, right? In order to get the most out of it and your desired results, you need to customize it according to your own needs, right? That is extremely important. So you need to thoroughly read these and customize it accordingly. You can edit it or directly go back here and customize it, give Claude CoWork direct instructions, right? So this is extremely important. So this is a part of financial services plugin, right? Which includes certain skills like equity research, financial research, private equity, S&P Global. So what S&P Global is it is a plugin by Kensho Technologies, which gives you an access to live data from S&P Global. But of course, you will need to have an account with them in order to get this, right? One more alternative to get the live data. If you want a very high level accuracy to your data without any hallucinations, one more thing you can do is you can go into connectors, and you can literally connect various connectors here which are like live data market feeds, or which connectors provide, which connectors you need to identify first, which connectors are providing live data feeds. For in my case, FMP is the live connector I sometimes use to get the live data feeds, especially for US stocks. So you need to identify which kind of connectors Claude CoWork can access, and then connect those connectors to your Claude CoWork if you really want to get access to live data feeds. Right. So this was one of the things that I needed to tell you. Second thing, so it is still doing its thing. So few things that I need to also discuss is this schedule task. So schedule task is, let's say you are managing 100 different portfolio files, right? So you need to understand and do your homework on how to, let's say, which clients I should call on Monday morning, which clients I should defer to for, let's say, Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on the portfolio risks that they might be facing, on the events that might have happened, let's say on Saturday and Sunday. This is extremely important, but still, 90% of the advisors that I talk to or have worked with still use the traditional spreadsheet method, where they kind of try to manage everything inside spreadsheet, and that method is extremely outdated and extremely traditional, going on for 20 something years now. So I think it is high time that you give some kind of different workflows like the one we are doing currently a real try, right? Then certain things you can do here is again a dispatch feature. I'm not sure whether you are aware of this or not, but this dispatch feature is where you can literally talk to Claude CoWork through your phone, right? So let's say you are outside of your office or your home. You just need to keep your Claude CoWork open, means your laptop open, and you can literally give instructions to Claude CoWork via your phone. So this is one of the features that you can also explore, right? So I will again move on to our workflow. One more important thing I would like to discuss, that I see many creators, many analysts, and many investors posting, reposting, discussing about how they have created certain skill and how they have tried this skill. But most of the times, what I've observed over a longer period of time, let's say 30 days, 60 days, they only use that skill like 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, right? And the primary reason behind it is you don't know what this skill is for. You don't know what that skill is actually trying to solve. So before creating any kind of skill on Claude or on any other tool, you should always ask these questions, that let's say what kind of problem this skill is going to solve, right? What is this skill actually for, right? So these kind of questions asking upfront is actually going to transform your skill into an actual usable workflow. So couple of things I can show you while this is happening is, many of the times you are using all these tools, but you are not using it efficiently. So you need to understand its all features before using these tools, because you need to spend some time about really understanding its all features, going through its settings, going through various different tabs and buttons, right? That is right way to understand any of these tools, right? So couple of things that I can show you here is, let's say I go into Claude CoWork, right? So this is the dispatch feature that I already discussed about. One of the very important thing is managing this usage, right? So Claude Code or Claude CoWork in this case has specific weekly limit and specific session limit. So you also need to understand how different models use these limits, right? Because Opus model is the strongest models of there, uses very high limit, right? Compared to, let's say, Haiku or Sonnet, right? So you need to really understand while doing your workflows or while working on something, you should also come and visit this section often to really understand how different models are using different limits and how different workflows are consuming certain amount of limits, right? So this is one thing I think you should really consider, right? Apart from this, also explore different features and spaces that this app provides on your own, right? And now let's move on to our workflow, right? Okay, so this is done, right? The workflow is done. So let's say it has given me two different files. One is a doc file and one is a client called priority file. So one is an Excel and one is a doc. So I'll just say show in folder. So this is the folder and these are the two files it has created. So I will just open this, right? So it has like four different sheets. So let's try the first sheet. So first sheet talks about top 5 call clients. So this has given me a sheet for top 5 clients I should call and top 5 clients I should defer. And it has also given it a priority number. Let's see why now FD. So this client has 30 lakh FD maturing this month only. So this could be an opportunity call for him, right? So this guy has a second largest book and not a rebalance in 20 months. So this might be a sloppy thing on my part because I didn't get a time or an opportunity to rebalance his portfolio. So I should call him immediately, right? He also has an FD of 20 lakh, right? So these are the talking points and why now, right? So let's say why defer. So these are like low urgency clients because they might have very well diversified book, or they might be very conservative or very small book. Depending on the things, you can see the why now and I should defer them calling right now, right? So let's go into talking point sheet. So what is this talking point sheet? So talking point sheet is basically what kind of talking points I should have on calling these top 5 priority clients. So you can see the first talking point to this first client is reassure on their capital. Your 85% exposure is into debt and government securities, right? And there's a high equity market correction that they are saying. You should really do something about this, right? Then you also have an FD with SBI, which is maturing this month, right? Then mark to market dip, then gold SGB. So SGB bonds, it has something to do with SGB bond. You see the talking points. You are getting different talking points depending on the actual client's portfolio, their risk, and their actual situation, right? How useful this could be, only a wealth advisor or any analyst can tell you, right? Then full ranking. So full ranking is what they have done. I didn't specifically ask for this, I think, but what they have done is they have created one formula on the basis of risk exposure score and AUM score and given it as a priority formula. You can see priority number 162.8 and last priority is 5.9. It has clearly they have done this on the risk score and AUM score, right? And key exposure, they have also flagged the key exposure, right? And then let's see the market backdrop. So market backdrop is again something I don't think I had exactly asked for. Okay, I did ask for this. So I talked about various events that are happening, right? Which was oil shock, AI shock, right? Rates and bonds and banking financial equity corrections. On the basis of these certain events, it has exactly described what is happening in each situation. You can see if I can zoom in. And then it has also given a portfolio implication of that situation. So what crude oil shock is actually doing to the portfolio, right? What a rupee hitting low, so currency depreciating is actually doing to the portfolio, right? What is AI shock to Indian IT? So how is Indian IT getting affected, due to AI shock? So this is an extremely useful Excel sheet. But let's go to the doc as well to check what it is actually giving you, right? So this is the doc they have created. Okay, so how the ranking was built. So essentially what they have done is they have taken the same data from Excel sheet and they have converted it into a doc file. So you can basically, if you prefer a doc file, you can basically certainly use the doc file. Otherwise, you can use an Excel file. I think essentially the whole data is the same, right? So this is extremely good thing. But what I think now is there are certain things that I have a doubt about, and I think I should do a little bit of follow up with Claude CoWork. And it is about, I think, AI is, I think, negatively impacting Indian IT services, because I think IT is just a middleman, right? And I think it is negatively affecting IT services, and I think I should do something about it, right? So what I will do is, I think Indian IT service companies are just middlemen. The actual beneficiaries are going to be completely different in this scenario of AI boom. And I need to identify certain clients that might have, you can say, high exposure to Indian IT service companies. So I can call them, right? Present them with a different opportunity, which could be really helpful for them for their portfolio rebuilding, right? And one thing you can also do is, apart from identifying their portfolio exposure to IT service companies, also find me the opportunities that I can shift their capital to on the basis of current market events, right? So this is a good questions to ask, right? So what I will do is just hit execute. So let's see what it gives me, right? So it is asking me certain questions. How aggressively should be the alternative ideas be framed for reallocation pitch, right? So sector and specific stocks, sector and fund ETFs. So I will just see, I want to see all my options, right? So I will say both layered. Then which client should I build the pitch around? So I will say, hell, let's go all in, right? All with IT tilt. Then what deliverable do you want? So Word, page prepping, Excel reallocation sheet. Let's do just Excel reallocation sheet. I think that will be better. So my usage limit has been reached, and I will have to probably wait. So let's recontinue this after my session restarts. So my limit has been reset. So I will just hit continue. So the output has been generated. So what they have done is they tried to find the IT exposure portfolios, right? And they found a few, right? So many of those portfolios are like employee portfolios. So they have IT services companies ESOPs, as you can see. So let's see what it has done. So it has again created a, you can see, a Excel file. So let's see what this Excel file tells us. So this, it has created a separate Excel file. Let's see. So it has created this IT services exposure relocation pitch, and it has identified few clients. So few of the clients have like 78% portfolio exposure in IT. It's crazy, 75%. So these are the clients we should definitely connect with, right? And it has also given me a recommended destination and rationale. So you need to understand here, AI is not going to give you an accurate or right sectors or even stocks to invest in, right? This is, of course, you need to do your own due diligence, you need to research on this a lot, but this is a good starting point is what I'm saying. So let's say EA has recommended me that I should look at power stocks, right, or power sector, then that is a good start to think about researching a power sector, or maybe go through, if I'm a wealth manager or a advisor, going through relevant funds, right, on the basis of the recommendation that AI providing me. But this, what I'm saying is, compared to, let's say, doing this on spreadsheet manually, this is an extremely good starting point for you, right? And if even if you are an individual investor, this might feel a little bit redundant to you, but imagine doing this for just one portfolio, right? This is 30 portfolios, but imagine doing this for your own portfolio only. Identifying the right exposure, reallocation pitches, right? Things that you can do with these kind of plugins, especially wealth management plugin or equity research plugin. Basically, you can do hundreds of different scenarios here, right? So let's see the opportunity map shift. Again, it has given a few things like why it benefits fund or ETF route and representative software. But basically, it has given me alternatives according to this AI build out, the beneficiary sectors it has given, and then alternatives, right? Then pre client detail. So, what is this? Sorry, per client detail. So, what is this per client detail? Is basically it has given details according to the client. So, this client has 75% in HCL ESOPs, right? So, we can target diversified four different assets or four different sectors here, including power and transmission, telecom, data center, right? Look at the detailing here, right? Then the thesis and caveats. So this is like a last thing I had asked, right? So thesis is basically Indian IT services firms are labor arbitrage middlemen in the value chain. So this is just our own thesis and important caveats. Read these kind of points before pitching anything. So you can see what kind of things you can do with plugins like this, especially with Claude CoWork, without actually uploading any client sensitive data directly into Claude, right? You can literally give access to Claude to your local files, which are not going to be trained on their proprietary data. Then, so this was it about wealth management plugin. So if you are an individual investors, imagine adding all your stock list and all your fund list, right, inside this, and asking AI to analyze based on the basis of current market events and live data, right? So this workflow is going to work even if you are an individual investor and even if you are managing hundreds of portfolios. And the more I realize one thing, right? The more I work in AI in finance, something strange is happening, right? Information is no longer the moat. What you can say here is one line keeps coming back to me, which is, only a fool knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. And this is so much true, especially in 2026, because investing was never about how much amount of information you process. It was always about the clarity and the things that actually matter, which is asking the right questions, identifying the right signals out of that overwhelming noise. And I think this is what these tools are helping you. They are not giving you intelligence, they are giving you attention. And someone who figures out how to learn that attention at scale is going to be a super investor and super analyst in the future. And I think I'm not much about closing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, reshare. The videos are going to keep coming. I'm not going to stop. See you in the next one.